Hi, I'm Shelley Young, owner of the Chopping Block, and today I'm going to teach you how to make a buttermilk biscuit. There's a lot of versions of buttermilk biscuits and a lot of different and delicious ones. The one we're going to teach you today is similar in method to a pie crust or a scone. It's going to be very flaky, but a little bit denser. In the food processor, I have 3 cups of all-purpose flour. We have 3 tablespoons of baking powder and 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt. What I'm going to do is just pulse this to combine the dry ingredients. Next, I'm going to take a 1.5 sticks of cold unsalted butter, put that in here. You do want this nice and cold. That's what's going to give it the flaky texture, and why I'm using a food processor and versus my hands. Some people do this with their hands, which is just fine if you're excellent at it, but it does warm the fat. The cold, since there's not as much heat with the food processor, it keeps the butter colder, and when we see little chunks of butter in there, that's where the flakes come from. So I'm just going to process this for a second with the butter. I like to use the pulse mode. And what I'm looking for, as you can see, this is very rumbly, in the food processor. That'll start to tone down as the butter gets cut into smaller pieces. And when it starts to tone down just a little bit, if I don't know if you saw that, let me actually show you this too. There's still pretty big chunks of butter in here. Like here's what size the butter is right now. So the flour looks a little more compact. That's about when I want to start adding my buttermilk. I have 3/4 cup to a cup. You're going to have to trust yourself a little bit and practice a little bit with the quantity, but if it's a very humid day, I might use a little bit less because I just want this to come together. I like to use the pulse mode. I'm going to turn it on, start drizzling this in. Don't just pour it in. For even distribution, about halfway through the buttermilk, or I like to give it a little swipe down just to make sure things are combining evenly. So the dough, today I put in about 3/4 of a cup. It is a relatively humid day, so not a surprise to me. But how I like to do this is I just take this lump of dough like that. You can use a biscuit cutter and make pretty little rounds if you like, but this is how I like to do it. Let me just take a little bit of flour and put it down so this doesn't stick. What I'm doing right now is just trying to get it all together in one cohesive piece. Now, you can do this to different thicknesses. It's really up to you. I tend to like a little smaller one that's really high. And then I open it up and fill it with butter or whatever I want to put in there. But what I do is I make a circle like so, easily, and then I cut it in pieces like this. More like a scone. That way I don't have to keep re-rolling it, which you would have to do if you were cutting it into circles, because you're going to have leftover pieces. So biscuits are cut. I'm going to pop these in a 400-degree oven. Take about 20 to 25 minutes. They're going to rise up, be golden brown. So we've pulled our biscuits out of the oven. These only took about 15 minutes, but they're golden brown, beautiful. I'm going to give them a little coating of melted butter because you just can't have enough of that. So I'm going to open them up and put a little more on the inside too. But that is how you make buttermilk biscuits.